Hi guys, it's Chanté, Beauty by Chanté on Instagram. I'm here today with Beauty Star Network. We are going to be creating my own signature slay. So let's just jump right in. Everybody knows my signature slay consists of skin. I love to bring out the natural beauty of skin, and I love that luminous glow. I mean, how can you not? The first thing that I would highly recommend you do, start with a makeup wipe. This creates a very smooth makeup application. Since I love a good glow, my favorite moisturizer that I use is by Nivea. This makes the foundation lay amazing. I'm not sure what you guys like to start on first, but for me, I love to start on the brows. The pencil that I'm using is actually by Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in the color chocolate. Start light and then build on any type of product. I'm literally just following my brow bone. And be very careful when you get to the inner corner of your brow. Use a feather-like stroke and then literally follow your arch. And you can usually find this by lining your pencil with your nose up to your eyebrow, and this is where your arch is. So once you hit that high point, you want to start to bring it down. And then brush it out with the spoolie. Blend, blend, blend. That's literally the key to everything. That's the key to life. I love to go in with a concealer at least 2 shades lighter than my normal skin tone and outline my brows just to give it a more defined look. I'm going to use this Tarte Shape Tape. My color is medium honey. You want to use a very flat brush. My brush of preference is the Morphe M432 brush. I'm just dabbing it into the product. You don't want to stress yourself out here. Because why? Because you want to build. Start off slow, right in the middle, and then I bring it out following the brow. Bam. Make sure you drag it down. And you want to use a very light touch with this also. You can already see it coming through, guys. So then I take the excess and sweep it into where my brow starts. Drag it down so there are no harsh lines. This is a prime example of why I like to start with my brows first and then do my foundation. And don't worry if you have to kind of go over that line a few times. Whatever you have to do to get that line straight, that's what you want to do. From here, I go on the top of my brow, kind of start towards the front, but not at the very beginning. Drag it straight out. Once you get to that point, you want to brush the concealer down. Brush all the way across. It blends the concealer for you, and then it takes away any harsh lines. From here, I like to take my beauty blender and then blend out any excess concealer. I would definitely recommend making sure your beauty blender is a little damp. If you do happen to dampen it right before your makeup, make sure you squeeze it out so good. All right, so going right into the next brow. And when you get to the tail of your brow, kind of focus on brushing it straight across rather than down. This creates a clean point. Same exact thing on the top brow. I'm gonna take any excess from the concealer and just use it as a eyeshadow base. I typically like to apply my eyeshadow before my foundation. I do this in case there's any fallout. I don't know where I would be without this Jacqueline Hill palette by Morphe. It has literally every color you can think of. You got your browns, your blue, the shimmers. Before I even start my eyes, I like to add a shimmer to my brow bone. This palette literally has everything. You need a brow highlight? We got you. I usually like to mix these two. Make sure you tap your brush. You just lightly want to dab it with the fluffy powder brush. I don't care where you go. If your brow is highlighted, you're slaying. I'm looking more alive. I want to go in with the transition crease color. This color is called Hunts. I typically like to raise my brow just a little bit like so, and then I start from the outer corner of my eye and blend in circular motions. If you know how to blend, you can pretty much make any eyeshadow look pop. Go back and forth with these strokes, following the crease of your eye. A lot of people try to get away with not blending as much, and I will be the first to say you can tell the difference. No shade and no pun intended. Feel free to touch up your brow highlight along the way. And then I'm gonna apply it to the other eye. On the outside of your eye, the color should always be darker. Just gonna add a little bit more to this first eye so it pops. Oh my gosh, I love a warm eye. I feel like it really brings out brown eyes too. Use like a fluffier brush, similar to the one I use on my upper brow bone. Then I'm gonna go in with a fairly neutral color. Press it into your eyelid just to make sure the product is grasping onto your skin. Adding a neutral color onto your lid literally makes you look more awake. Like, look at the difference. Blend it into your very inner corner. It's a very matte look right now. I love to add a shimmer in my inner corner. So for that, I'm gonna go in with the same palette and add this gold color. I'm using a pencil brush to apply this. This is the Morphe 431. This shimmer is not giving me enough life right now. I'm gonna spray it with a setting spray. Doing that really heightens the eye color. You can definitely see this pop now. It makes your nose look slimmer as well because it kind of like adds some depth into the inner corner. So now I'm gonna blend my transition color a little bit more. I'm using this chocolate color at the bottom of this palette. The only thing for nighttime I would do is maybe add a darker color onto the outer corner, like a black. Feel free to go back in with a little bit more. This is why we build. So I'm just gonna add a little bit more of that neutral color just so it doesn't get lost in the sauce. After I get done with my eyes, I love to apply this chapstick onto my lips. This is Pacifica. So this is Indian chai flavor. It tastes and smells so good. I'm not even lying. Winged eyeliner is definitely optional. Do whatever you feel fit. I'm using the Fenty eyeliner. It has a felt tip. So for you beginners out there, I would highly suggest this. Keep your head up and angle your eyes down so you can easily follow your eye line. Don't rush yourself unless you feel like you have it completely under control. I like to start with the top line going straight out, and then I connect it right at the corner. For this eye, I usually start from the outer end. This is a felt tip, so it literally creates your winged eye for you. And once you get to the inner corner, you want to do very, very light strokes. You just want to make sure you're finding any errors and then cleaning those up with the tip. If you ever make a mistake like the one I just made, do not panic. Use your nail, put it inside of your makeup wipe. There we go. I usually just like to wipe under my eyes just in case there is any fallout, and there was, so good thing I did that. So next, I'm just gonna put a black eyeliner onto my waterline. This color is Phone Number by MAC Cosmetics. I love this eyeliner because it's kind of like a charcoal. It's not as harsh as black. Make sure you get into the inner corners of your waterline. I would highly recommend using a beauty elixir such as this one by Farsali. It literally has 14 karat gold inside of it, and I'm not even joking. This product is oil-based. If you have oily skin, use a very small amount. And then I go in and blend it all over with my beauty blender to prime my skin. Make sure you apply it to your neck area as well. It literally infuses moisture into your skin. So it's kind of like skincare underneath makeup, and you can't go wrong with that. Look at this glow. It is on the pricier side, but it's a great investment. I would say it's about $50, but literally this stuff lasts forever. I typically love foundations with SPFs in it because I'm in LA, so anytime I'm out in the sun, I can assure that my skin is being protected. What I'm actually gonna do now is really push it to the limit and mix these two foundations. So I'm gonna take 1 squirt of the 375 with 1 squirt of the 360, and I'm gonna blend it. You can already see how the consistency is changing. So I don't like to do a lot of foundation on my forehead because at times it can create a noticeable line that you definitely want to avoid. I'm gonna use a kabuki brush. Yes, I said kabuki, and yes, that is a word in the makeup world. Morphe M444. I'm just gonna blend it out. I really like this texture of this foundation. It's so smooth. I would say this foundation is a matte finish, hence why it's really, really good for oily to combination skin. I'm gonna blend it where I put the concealer for my brows. And that's another reason why I don't put as much foundation onto my forehead either. I like to spray Scandinavia finishing spray. I'm just gonna spray it twice and then just blend my foundation with that same beauty blender. Highlighting and contouring is a must. I'm gonna take that same highlighter that I used on my brows and I'm going to apply that underneath my eyes and anywhere the light hits. The bridge of my nose, on my forehead, Cupid's bow, and on the top of my chin. I start on my under eye and I just brush it down. And then I like to put a little bit on the top of my jawline just to give some extra definition. I want to keep the product visible on my under eyes the most. So I'll give it time to kind of set itself in and then blend that out. You're like lightly bouncing the blender off of your face. When you get to your inside corner, kind of pinch it just so you have more of a precision on the beauty blender. Blend, blend, blend. It's best to look up when you apply your concealer, especially if you kind of have some under eye baggage like me, just a tad, just so you can press the product into your under eye really well so there are no fine lines. Because I love an extra snatched look, I'm gonna go in with this Revlon Color Stay concealer in the color medium, and I'm just gonna apply it right beside the bridge of my nose. So if you can kind of think of it as you pinching your nose, that's where you need to put the lightest color concealer. So this color is actually 3 shades lighter than my skin tone. Go back in with your beauty blender. After I do that, I just kind of do a final blend process and I just kind of blend wherever I feel best needed. Yes, it's glowy, it's luminous, it feels like skin. I love starting off with a contour stick. Anytime you want to find the contour of your face, you can literally feel the bone. So I know my contour will be right here. The color that I'm using is by Fenty Beauty. It's called Truffle. I'm literally gonna draw where I felt my bone, right there. I don't wanna apply too much pressure because I don't want the product to be too dark. And then I'm gonna lightly draw my contour on my nose. Remember how we took this pencil and kind of lined it up with our nose and found our arch? You literally are doing the same thing, but instead of going this way towards your brow arch, you want to bring it straight up. So it won't be on the bridge of your nose, it'll literally be right beside it. And then just because I like to really define my nose, put a contour line right there. But makes your nose look a lot slimmer, and it kind of brings it out and gives it like a pointed illusion. So because I'm one of those people who aren't fortunate enough to have a defined jawline, I'm gonna make my own. Press that crevice there, and then once you find it, draw a line. And then if you really want to take it to the next level, you can add some contour lines right here. I'm gonna take a pointed blending brush, exactly where I place my contour. Literally make your face like a fish. Find the contour of your cheekbone. After I blend it, I just kind of take the brush and pat it, just to make sure everything is kind of like melting all together. You don't want to create a line that is easy for anybody to see. Don't do any circular motions. Brush it down, because you don't want that to contradict the top of your jawline that you put the concealer onto. Any facial shape, you can definitely contour, but you want to pay attention to the type of face that you have. It's not the same for everyone. To fully execute your nose contour, I would highly suggest you investing in a flathead contour brush. So this particular one is Morphe G42. You can literally still keep that defined line and drag it out. I don't want to see any harsh lines. I'm just gonna touch up my highlight since we just contoured. It's time to set your highlight and contour. My powder of choice is this Makeup Forever translucent powder. For darker and more warmer skin tones, I would recommend this Sacha Buttercup. It's not the same brand, but it has the same consistency and you apply it the same exact way. I'm just taking my beauty blender and dabbing it into it and then just tapping off any excess powder. You want to kind of tilt your head up and apply it right under your eye. A lot of people refer to this step in the process as baking. I wouldn't use an obnoxious amount of setting powder. Depending on what concealer you use, it can set quickly. Almost the moment you put powder on it, it will lock it in. So if you make a mistake, it might not end well. I'm just gonna take any excess of the powder, not applying any more to the beauty blender, and just apply it to all the places that I put the concealer on in the prior step. To kick off this contour, I'm gonna do a powder just to kind of enhance it and to set the color in more. This powder I'm using is by MAC Cosmetics. They actually call it a blush, but a lot of makeup artists really love this powder because it performs as a contour as well. So this color is in the color Blunts. I'm gonna apply that with the same brush that I used to blend out my contour. Lightly work it into the product, tapping it off. Before I add a highlighter onto my face, I'm just gonna do a final blend. I like to use this big puffy brush by Morphe Cosmetics. This particular brush is E41. Sir John is definitely one of my favorite makeup artists. He really emphasizes on the technique that he calls a 3D contour, making sure the contour, the blush, and the highlight pop. I'm using a fan brush. Bam, wow. Look how amazing it makes your skin look in comparison to the other cheek. I'm just gonna apply a little bit to my bridge of my nose. If you ever want the color to pop a little bit more, like we did with the inner corners of my eye, just spray a little bit of mist onto your brush. And then you can even use your finger. Because my signature slay is based on skin and adding that extra luminosity to your skin, I think a gloss would complement this. This is one of my favorite glosses. It's by Lime Crime and it's the Wet Cherry Gloss. This is the Cherry Slime. Now to complete this look, where would we be without lashes? This lash style is called Gaudy by Corel Beauty Lash Collection. Before you put on any glue, you want to measure it with your eye. So in this case, we might have to snip it a little bit. So I'm just going to cut off the edges. And the glue that I'll be using is this Duo Lash Glue, and it's the black shade. And I love this glue because you can actually brush it on. By allowing the glue to kind of dry, it becomes stickier. You actually want to look down and then look the opposite way of the inner corner of your eye. It stretches your eye line out. This is a lash. So you want to make sure it's placed properly. So go ahead and kind of give it like a little push. I like to kind of push mine up. Same thing with the other lash. And I'm gonna let it sit for about 10 seconds. To complete this look, I'm gonna add some bottom mascara, Colossal Big Shot Mascara by Maybelline. I just lightly dab the mascara onto my real lashes. So you can usually locate them underneath the lash. So I'm actually gonna use this Chanel brush that I've been holding as a mirror. This color is number 430. Lightly dab that with a fluffy blush brush. Smile a little bit so you can find the apples of your cheeks and kind of blend it with my contour and highlight. So you can kind of see the 3D effect coming through. I'm gonna do a final spray and then I'm just gonna blend lightly by tapping this brush onto my skin. Okay, we are done. This is my signature slay. For more tutorials and beauty inspirations, be sure to visit BeautyStarNetwork.com and follow them on all social media platforms. You guys are gonna get so much inspiration. Be sure to follow me, Beauty by Chanté, on Instagram, and I hope to see you guys next time.